Time is 7 p.m. I'll call a common council meeting to order. Could we have roll call, please?
Iverson. Here. Schatzinger.
Here.
Reamer.
Here.
Gallops.
Here.
Grenert.
Here.
Godsky. Sorensen.
Here.
Split.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gracious and loving God, we ask your wisdom upon the meeting this evening. We ask that you help everybody approach everything with graciousness, with gratitude, with hope, with the optimism that we can work through anything together, and that we share this journey with each other. Let your Spirit be upon us and bless this time. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. All right. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
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 Opposed? That is approved. And just a reminder for the folks in the room, if you can talk into your microphones, we have 3 or 4 people joining us on Zoom, so we want to make sure they can hear you. All right. Next item is public comment. This is the opportunity for citizens to come before the council with comments and concerns on any current city issue, knowing no action may be taken tonight. I ask that you keep it civil and respectful and within 5 minutes. However, discussion of personnel or of individual members of the common council shall not be permitted. I expect you to be respectful, and in return, I expect the council to treat the citizens with the same respect. Before we begin, please state your name and address for the record. We have Thomas, is that Hine? Please step forward.
Hello, I'm Thomas Hine. I live at 723 Chester Court. I'm working on my merit badge for Boy Scouts. I'm almost Eagle, so I'm getting there. I came here just to say thank you for making all decisions for our city. I just want to thank you for that, and then thanking you for this opportunity to learn about democracy, because this is my merit badge. I'm learning how local government works.
All right.
Thank
Thank you very much. All right. Early public comment for the evening. Next is accepting informal reports from standing committees and staff. Is there a motion to approve the informal reports as published?
Motion to approve.
Second.
And moved by John, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? Doug?
I'd like to pull the Ripon Area Fire District minutes.
Go ahead.
I'd just like to highlight the fact that we are still working through our budget. We'll have a much clearer understanding in about 2 years of how this budget is still working. It was not done very well in the past, and we were missing receipts and stuff, so we really don't understand fully what's going on, and we are still in the command structure of the fire department. Now, I know a lot of people have been watching the video of that, the board meeting, but I just want to reiterate it. We're still working through this, and we believe that we will come out to be a stronger department in the end.
I will just make note that a part of your financial report, the very last page, is an annual report regarding the Fond du Lac Area Foundation account, which is the donation account to the Fond du Lac. It's the Ripon Community Fund. You can see there the transfers in, the donations, interest and dividend income, then donation withdrawals, as well as investment income. So the balance to start was $106,000, and at the end of the year, it was $124,240.07. You can see kind of the breakdown of where dollars are coming in and coming out, mostly relating to police donations and expenditures.
Just a quick question on that. two different lines for dividends and interest versus capital gains. I assume it's a split account, some savings, some stock.
It's just, in cash or money market that we can access, and then the rest gets invested and we can pull it when necessary.
Very good. Any questions on that? All right. All those in favor of accepting the informal reports from standing committees and staff, say aye.
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 Opposed? Those are approved. Next is the consent calendar. Only item there is common council minutes from January 9th and 22nd. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Second.
Been moved by Doug. Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the consent calendar, say aye.
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 Opposed? That is approved. All right. Of $136,007.61. Staff recommends approval. Adam, anything you want to add to that one?
Not much. I think Dan from MSA is on the Zoom for restoration moving into next year, or this year, sorry. And other than that, I think the project is pretty well complete.
And let me check the exact dollar amount. About $4,600 left in retainage for the contractor to come back and make sure all restoration and any other items are addressed that are on the punch list that we've identified. Coming to clear that out, essentially.
All right. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve pay application number 2?
I'd like to make a motion to approve pay application.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved by Doug, seconded by John. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the pay application number 2 for the Murray Park Trail project, say aye.
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 Opposed? That is approved. Next item is professional services agreement for Hamburg Street and Henny Street reconstruction. Adam, do you want to start that off?
So in your packets, you have a letter from the Department of Administration. So over the last year or so, the city has tried to complete a couple of income surveys throughout the community to qualify for a CDBG grant, a community development block grant. This is similar to the Parkway Terrace and Vermont Street grant. So we looked at an area of Pacific, Hamburg, and Washington, did a survey of those area. Staff went out, knocked doors. We were able to obtain an area of Hamburg Street and Henny Street to qualify for qualifying income survey. So those two streets more or less had met the 51%, above the 51% threshold. So the Department of Administration has issued the letter saying met a qualified area. As we work on that project and we work toward applying to a grant, if it is the desire of the council to move that forward, the grant application and the process for that over the last couple of years has changed. A big component of it is being shovel ready. There's design and almost biddable specs upon submission of the grant application. The grant application, if I'm not mistaken, is due in May or April. So we have a few months. Ultimately, the grant application is a lot of work in itself, but as you add the engineering to design the project out, it becomes bigger. So to be competitive and to get the most points possible, we would advise, if we're going down this path to get this grant, which in our mind is up to $1 million on a $2 million project. The project cost is about $1.5 to $2 million, so 50%. So it's a significant opportunity. We're talking water, sewer, storm sewer, and road. Ultimately, you have to have that planning done to even be sniffed at by the DOA. So it's a lot of money up front to be more competitive for the grant. Ultimately, if we do not obtain the grant, we still have the plans and specs done to do the project, and it is a valuable, worthwhile project. The road is, both roads are, and it's a part of town that, you know, has a few areas that are pretty, you know, rough in terms of, so we have to start addressing it. Ultimately, if we want to move this forward, we would recommend approval. Dan?
Doug?
Okay, so
Microphone.
Okay, so we're not gonna do this spring.
We're
But
going, yep, design this spring. It's a 2025 project, grant dependent, yes.
grant dependent, so it could be $1 to $3 million? Is that what you said? 1 to 2 million?
Dan, is about 1.5, is that where you have it estimated at about?
Yeah, for the optimization of the grant, it's essentially a 2/3, 1/3 grant, or up to a 2/3 or a $1 million cap. So essentially a $1.5 million gives you the most bang for your buck. So I guess the way we're looking at it is $1.6 million project-ish. That's assuming no unforeseens or anything crazy changes or anything like that. But, so yeah, the grant application is due, I believe, May 17th. So we would be designing it this spring, in the next, or winter, in the next 3 months. For the application, the funding then comes out, or the awards come out, I believe in June or July. And then you have until July 1st of 2025 to start the project. So that would kind of be the timeline.
Okay, so this 100,000 or 100 and whatever it is, that's like a possible down payment. That's started? Is that what I'm seeing?
That would be the engineering for the project.
That's what I thought.
So whether we get the grant or not, if the project ever happens, we need to engineer it.
Right, we need to have that.
So even if we don't get the grant, we have the design done for when we are able to do the project.
Which is still valuable in itself. That
Some of
does
the
help.
design grant eligible?
Yes, so some of the design work is grant eligible, so it could become part of the match. Ultimately, too, when you're looking at the scoring rubric for this, they have 30 points for eligible area. They have 40 points for project readiness, right? So, if we go in and out of 150 possible points, we're not going to get 40 points. We're not going to get a grant. That's pretty much, you're not competitive. So, so this positions us to be competitive, as well as you mentioned, move forward in the future to use this as an investment to do the road at a later date as well, regardless.
Okay, so if we don't get it this round, we could tweak it and redo it on another year?
Theoretically, yes, we could reapply. We would just have to, have a more compelling argument.
Right.
The biggest thing here is the income survey, I believe, is good for a few years. So we have 5 years since this is certified to use this area. So we can go back to the drawing board if we do not obtain the grant and reapply.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, I have a question. Is this going to include the overpasses also? We can't call them bridges because that'd be wrong.
No,
but
it will go short of that, mainly because that project, this grant funding does not fund that type of activity.
Okay.
Going?
Mayor.
1 second, Dave.
All right.
First of all, I think it's fantastic to look at creative ways that we can fund assistance to improving our roads. City council person talked to me about, which is important. My question is, as we look at our plan for improving roads, where would this section of our city streets, where would it fall under the priority list? Basically, can you just state that there is a significant need for road repair and also the utilities under this area, and that it would be a priority area if it didn't even meet the income requirements for this project?
Yeah, those sections were identified because of the apparent deteriorating condition that everybody drives over. Underneath that, there are lead service lines that are known on Hamburg. There is a 2-inch main, so there are pressure issues and for water, and it's not an ideal situation. It's been identified in our water master plan as an undersized main that needs to be replaced. Capital improvement plan, it's been listed as a project in the 5-year capital plan for the last couple years.
John and then Dave.
If we don't do the, if we don't get the grant and we don't do the project in 2025, how long is the design plan good for? Is it good forever?
Dan, is it good forever?
I mean, in theory, as long as nothing changes out there in the next, until you do the project, but I mean, yeah, I have the perfect design that will last forever. No, I mean, again, unless something significantly changes or you add on to the project where said overpass would be added to the project or something like that, that's where the design might change slightly. But essentially where we're ending the project would be a good spot to pick up that overpass project. So there isn't a whole lot of overlap. So we've kind of laid this out for future projects as well as this project.
Thank you.
Dave?
Another question for Dan here. If we approve this tonight, is there going to be a problem getting all this put together before we send this application in?
No, the goal is to have this design ready, set to go by that May 17th deadline. So it's going to be a push. It's a decent sized project for this timeline. In a perfect world, I would have liked this to be approved, say 2-3 months ago, but it's hard to do some of this stuff that far in advance because once you identify the area, you do the income survey and all that other stuff, it just takes time. So no, I think we have a decent timeline. We have a team set up that is ready to get started on this upon approval, essentially tomorrow. So,
Terry?
Just a quick question. Can you refresh my memory? Have we planned for this in the budget for the approximately $105,000 to continue on with the engineering?
So this would come out of the capital improvement plan budget, so our program budget, supported mostly by utility fees and some general funds. So we can absorb it in the budget for this year.
Okay, thank you.
Join?
Mayor,
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the $105,000 contract to MSA.
I'll second.
Second.
Motion's by Dave. I'll give the second to Terry. Any further discussion on the motion?
I assume, are you making that more robust, that application? I mean, should we say for the, area of the Hamburg Street and Henny Street reconstruction?
Yeah, in support of the grant.
Yeah, in support of the grant, okay.
Yes. Motion should reflect that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all is in favor of approving the MSA contract for $105,000 to engineer the Hamburg Street, Henny Street reconstruction, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved.
So this will now kick off a whole series of other events that we have to plan on, so there'll be some things on the agenda that come about because of this application, so just wanted to let you know that. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
All right, our next item is the Industrial Park Water Tower Rehabilitation Bid Award. To start this one off, I'd be seeking a motion to accept low base bid from Classic Protective Coatings, Inc., totaling $478,950, plus bid alternate 1, interior dry insulative coating system on access tube and bowl, totaling $29,400. Bid alternate 3, exterior coating system totaling $32,500. And bid alternate 6, additional 3-year warranty totaling $15,000 for a grand total amount of $555,850.
I'll make a motion to approve that bid for the Industrial Park Water Tower Rehabilitation Bid Award. Base bid of $478,950, the alternate of $29,400, alternate 3 of $32,500, alternate 6, $15,000, for a total of $555,850.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Motion by Doug, second by Dave. Any discussion?
Just had a question, maybe
Go ahead.
for Adam or someone. Why wasn't the alternate 2 a part of it, the interior wet coating? Is the reasoning that wasn't?
And we also do have Jana from
Jana,
SEH.
yep, Jana from SEH is here. She can get technical.
Jana, did you hear the question?
Yep, the question was related to alternate 2 and why that wasn't selected or recommended.
Correct.
Yeah, the Tanemic is the coating manufacturer, and the 2 systems that were bid have been shown to be relatively equal in their application and longevity. And so we did bid them both to see what the cost difference would be, but we didn't feel there was enough of a benefit from the additional cost for the Series 22 to recommend going ahead with that. So this.
And the base bid included Series 21.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Just a question too.
Go ahead.
The, a little bit on this, the base bid, are we picking the design? Is that part of this?
In this motion, it would just be the base bid. I would like to handle a design as a separate motion, separate from this.
That's fine.
So this is strictly the base plus. Any questions or further discussion? John?
What was the next closest bid to this low bid? It's probably here somewhere, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It might have gotten a little shrunk down, but 543,500 in the base, so.
Okay.
You know,
That would have been the base then.
that's the base, and,
Okay.
and the alternates were even more at 482. So, Classic Protective Coatings, I think Jana can talk to their qualifications. This is a solid number for what we were expecting.
One second. Jana, could you speak to SEH's relationship with Classic Protective Coatings and how you've used them in the past?
Yes, we've worked with Classic Protective Coatings on several projects, probably over the last 15 to 20 years. They're one of the best contractors in the business and well-known throughout the country, especially the Midwest, for the work that they do. They are located in Menominee, Wisconsin.
Jolene?
I think you said it in the past, but Jana, can you just, for the sake of tonight, for the vote, say that what has been recommended, what we have just put for proposal alternate 1, 3, and 6 is typically what you recommend for water towers for cities. You know, can you mention some other cities that have done this same agreement for water towers?
Sure. Yes, alternate 1 for the exterior coatings. We recently had Village of Baldwin. Okay, alternate 1 was the insulated coating, so I'll start there. The city of Eau Claire applied this to a similar size and configuration of a tank in the same locations. And in checking in with them a couple years later, they said they were very pleased with the results, and they did see significantly less condensation when these coatings were applied. Alternate 3 for the exterior coating system. We've seen that used a few times. It's highly recommended for any colored coatings to upgrade to the fluoropolymer system. And it also is very beneficial with, it minimizes the mildew and staining that will stick to the tank. It's kind of that Teflon-like qualities. So the tank looks better for longer. And then it also has superior color retention for that coating system. So we see that most often used if a tank is darker colors, but also in the logo areas. And there are significant benefits to using that throughout the tank exterior, whether it's light or dark coatings. And then alternate 6 is the extended warranty. We do recommend that just because it's such a high dollar project, and extending that warranty out to 5 years gives it a little more time. If there were any workmanship issues in the paint application, it gives a little more time for issues to develop, and then they can be addressed under warranty. And then that also aligns, the DNR requires 5-year inspections for water tanks, and that aligns the warranty inspection with the required 5-year DNR inspection.
Any further questions or discussion? Go ahead.
I guess I'm not sure did we see the actual wording of the warranty? I mean, it's recommended, you work with them, but does that mean that we are fully covered if they have to come back and in those 5 years?
It'll be reflected in the contract and all the other documents that move forward with it. It was put in the base bid as a bid alternate, because there's a standard 2 years, so this gives it up 3 more. So it'll all be reflected in those documents after the fact, now that we're purchasing it.
Any more questions? One last time. Any more questions or discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the motion to accept the low base bid from Classic Protective Coatings, Inc., bid alternate 1, bid alternate 3, bid alternate 6 for a grand total of $555,850, say aye.
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 Opposed? That is approved. Did you want to speak on the other alternates?
No, I was going to say, for the record, when we were going through chickens and we were going through ATVs, like I had people reach out. I had the most people reach out to me since I've been on city council about the aesthetics on our water tower. 100%, for what it's worth, the people that have called me listening, 100% have voiced their support of City of Ripon only. That's the base.
The base logo.
Yep. So just wanted to say that for the record.
And for the record, very similar. I'm probably about 98% with that.
I had someone specifically call me a couple weeks ago and said that they were a retired design person, and they said that the black and white will just not work for the little white schoolhouse on that water tower. You just aren't going to see it. It's not going to work. So they were much against it. So,
I'm sure everybody knows where I stand on the design, but I think a good alternative is the Ripon, Wisconsin one with birthplace of the Republican Party below it, which is number 7, correct, I think?
So it's alternate 7.
Yeah, alternate 7.
Would you like to make an official motion to that?
Sure. I'll make a motion that we approve alternate 7, birthplace of the Republican Party logo, below the Ripon, Wisconsin logo.
Is there a second for that motion?
Second.
Been moved by John, seconded by Steve. Any discussion?
Mayor,
Go ahead.
this is Ellen. According to what Jonathan had indicated, I too have had seen most responses wanting Ripon on the water tower, but not including the birthplace of the Republican Party. So I just wanted to share what I've seen in the public and what I've been hearing.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Go ahead, Dave.
I'm pretty much in the same place. Everyone that I've spoke to, same thing. They just want the Ripon, Wisconsin on there.
Thank you. Anyone else? Going?
So on what was presented to us, where was that option? I see the alternate that was just voted on, that is the birthplace of the Republican Party logo.
That's what we're discussing right now.
Right. So my question was where is the alternate to just have Ripon, Wisconsin? That wasn't even
That's in the base
presented.
bid. That was in the base bid.
But I thought when Jonathan asked if we had already voted on the image of what would be on the image, that we didn't just vote on that.
The Ripon, Wisconsin was included in the base bid. However, we can still use one of the alternates to change that image. Because that was the least expensive of all the logos, so that is in the base bid.
Necessarily how that was presented, that we did just vote on Ripon, Wisconsin, but that's there.
Yes.
So we already have, so we could have had a no vote just now, and we would have moved forward with Ripon, Wisconsin.
Correct. So if you want something, we will have to approve one of the alternates. If we want to keep just Ripon, Wisconsin, we vote no to this and do not bring up or vote no to other alternates.
So it says here under alternate 7, or I guess I'm $19,000 total. That's the base bid. So this will be, so the base bid, so we did just vote on extra money with the base bid, so it was $14,000.
Base bid was $14,000 in the base bid. So that was included in the base bid. There are 3 alternatives for logos, including the one that was motioned.
Yeah.
That adds $2,500 per side. So that is total of $19,000 for the logo.
So alternate 7 would cost an additional $5,000.
For 2 sides.
Yes.
I want to go back and, so for the motion, we could have also voted on one side for $2,500 for birthplace,
That is possible.
and we could be saving $2,500 if we only wanted one side alternatively.
That is a possibility.
And the motion was just for the birthplace Republican Party, or was the motion on both sides? Was the motion
That's
on
a
one
good
side or both
clarification.
sides?
Good clarification. John?
Both
and
sides.
Seconder? Both sides.
Both sides.
Steve?
Single.
Oh, and you don't have a second.
I'm sorry.
So,
Well-
John, but we're clarifying now.
Yeah.
So it's just, your motion, John, is 2 sides.
Is what?
Is for 2 sides.
Yes.
That's your motion. Steve, that's the motion. You can withdraw your second at this point in time.
I'll withdraw my second at this time.
Okay, then we need a new motion.
I'll make
Would-
a motion to,
Well, we could seek another second for your motion.
for
Oh,
sure, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we can.
Would anyone like to second the motion for alternate 7 on both sides of the tower?
I will second.
Okay, now we can move forward on that discussion.
Okay.
So just to sum up, in the base bid, Ripon, Wisconsin is included. In alternate 7 would add birthplace of the Republican Party in this motion to both sides. Any questions or further discussion on that motion?
I just think it's a good compromise, and it shows the history of Ripon. I think it's a good way of doing it on both sides and having it say birthplace of the Republican Party.
And I will just reiterate that 98% of my feedback was strictly Ripon, Wisconsin, with no other pictures or wording on the tower. And similar responses have been put forward by other council members. So, in my mind, it's clear the public overwhelmingly just wants Ripon, Wisconsin.
Okay, so if we don't vote on any of these alternates, in the base, it's gonna say Ripon, Wisconsin on it.
Correct.
Is it gonna look similar to 2A without the birthplace of the Republican Party on it?
That's exactly what it would look like.
Got it. Okay, thank you. And that's on one side or two?
Two.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the base bid includes that on both sides.
Okay.
Jolene?
I will say, like my fellow colleagues who have voiced that most of the individuals that have contacted me have wanted just Ripon, Wisconsin. I have also had people that have contacted me saying that they did want birthplace Republican Party, so I do have to recognize that. And I understand the case that it does help to put us on the map. If there's pictures, people say, there's probably good debate that you probably won't be able to read birthplace Republican Party on the tower with the black and white. It'll probably be almost unreadable. But that was said you could use a drone if you had a drone shot, and if that wanted to be marketing for the birthplace of the Republican Party. I am noting that there isn't someone here talking about that, although they did come to the last meeting. So it's not as though that we're seeing overwhelming community support right now, or individuals coming to support that. So for my reasoning right now, being that I'm not sure that anyone standing on the ground will be able to read birthplace Republican Party, maybe if Adam, if you can speak to that, and if you've talked to the engineers about being able to read this, knowing that I've not had overwhelming support for it, but I can see that it is something that we can really be proud of and hopefully market. I'm looking at now the cost to taxpayers. My alternative would be, I can see that if we want to use that for marketing and move that forward, I would like maybe it on one side. What I'm seeing is, it is at $2,500 extra dollars, $2,500 of our taxpayer money. And alternatively, if we believe in the Little White Schoolhouse, can we make a donation to the Little White Schoolhouse for $2,500 instead of it going on the water tower where we perhaps can't even read it? Is that something that is even possible as an alternative, where it is voted upon, the one side, $2,500, and the other $2,500 is a donation to promoting, for tourism purposes, to bring people to our community, and hopefully bring taxpayer money in, as what it's intended to do.
That's not the motion on the floor.
But could it be?
No, it can't be. The motion on the floor
If-
is
but
the motion
could
on
it
the
be?
floor.
At a separate time, it could
Separate
be. At
motion
this
could
time,
be
we have a motion on the
on the
floor.
floor.
But at a separate time, it could be. Steve?
I know it's nickels and dimes and to the city, but it's to the people of Ripon. And 25, that kind of money is, that's why I say one side would be adequate. And I agree with Jolene on that.
Terry?
I just want to say that I can't say that I've had a lot of people contact me regarding the design and so forth, but what I have seen is the people that I have talked to do like the idea of bringing in the fact that Ripon Main Street logo and that we're still keeping the little white schoolhouse in mind by having that birthplace of the Republican Party. So to not erase history, they were like, let's go with the logo design that we have in mind.
Any further discussion on this motion? One last time. Any further discussion on this motion?
Clarification is a yes vote moves forward the alternate 7 at a cost of $5,000, birthplace of the Republican Party on both sides, in addition to the standard Ripon logo that is spelled out. A no vote means no.
If there's no more discussion, have a roll call vote on the resolution, or the motion of approving bid alternate 7, adding birthplace of the Republican Party logo to both sides of the water tower at a cost of $5,000. Adam?
Iverson,
No.
Schatzinger,
No.
Reamer,
No.
Gallops,
No.
Bernard,
Yes.
Gotsky, Sorensen,
No.
Split.
Yes.
Motion fails 2-6.
Are there any other motions on the water tower discussion? John?
I'll make a motion to accept alternate 7 with the logo on one side
At a cost of $2,500.
at a cost of $2,500.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Been moved by John, seconded by Steve. Do we need further discussion on this? One last time, is there further discussion on this motion? We're going to do a roll call again. This motion is for accepting bid alternate 7 on one side of the water tower, adding birthplace of the Republican Party at a cost of $2,500. Adam?
Iverson,
No.
Schatzinger,
Yes.
Reamer,
Yes.
Gallops,
No.
Bernard,
Yes.
Gotsky,
Yes.
Sorensen,
No.
Split.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-3.
Are there any further motions on the water tower discussion? All right, moving on. Next item is a resolution for the intent to reimburse or expenditures for the industrial park water tower rehabilitation project. Adam?
There is a resolution in your packet. So, one of the, sorry, let me pull it up. So the city has submitted a group of intent to applies for the Clean Water and the Safe Drinking Water Fund. Ultimately, this program can fund the water tower project, so the project you just approved. Doesn't mean we have to move forward with this. It just basically lines it up as an option. The benefit to it is that there is a 20% principal forgiveness. There's also a low interest 20-year loan. It's just an option. We'd recommend approval to keep it going. It doesn't mean, like I said, we will use it. Likelihood is we have either TIF dollars or utility revenues to help fund this, but ultimately, again, when we're looking at the programs offered by the state, the DNR, and then ultimately the bipartisan infrastructure legislation, the resolution here, there's a lot more money for principal forgiveness, so we are just lining that up to be an option.
You looking for a motion?
You bet.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution with the intent to reimburse expenditures for the Industrial Water Park Tower Rehabilitation Project through the State of Wisconsin Environmental Improvement Fund.
Just clarification, you do what I did. Industrial Park Water Tower, not Industrial Water Park.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, did I miss the water tower?
I did the same thing.
Me bad. I'd like to amend it to reflect this industrial park water tower.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
I'll second.
Motion's made by Doug. I got Steve first on the second. Any discussion on that motion for the resolution? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote on the resolution for the intent to reimburse expenditures for the Industrial Park Water Tower Rehabilitation Project through the State of Wisconsin Environmental Improvement Fund. Adam?
Iverson,
Yes.
Schatzinger,
Yes.
Reamer,
Yes.
Gallops,
Yes.
Bernard,
Yes.
Godspeed. Sorensen,
Yes.
Split,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Jane and Dan, you don't have to stick around if you don't want. Thank you for showing up.
But you're welcome to stay if you'd like.
Thank you.
All right, next item is the housing study proposals. Adam, do you want to start this?
Yeah, so basically, we have two proposals in front of you. We talked in the last month or so regarding some of the housing plans and projects that we have ongoing. These are both from Veerbecker. They completed our housing study a couple years ago. And the first agreement here is a agreement to provide services for a housing market analysis update. Basically, the concept here is just sort of go back in to the report, update things, look at what we've done. The cost is $2,720, so $2,720. Ultimately, kind of a quick turnaround. They'll review numbers and make some suggestions and kind of refocus maybe some of the ideas for programs and other opportunities for housing projects in that. The second is what I would say a more comprehensive review of the school site. So the city has a first right of refusal on a 30-acre or 40-acre parcel north of Murray Park School. Ultimately, what we're looking at here is preliminary site analysis, looking at concepts, reviewing sort of the soils and looking at the utility capabilities to ensure that if this is a site that will work for us, that we're doing a lot of the planning ahead of time to ensure that in the event that there is the opportunity to put the development on that site, it is ready to go. In addition to that, I'll just pull it up on this screen quick. We'd be looking at more or less concepting out a development. These are just renderings or examples of others. So at the end of the day, what we'd be looking at is getting a kind of a design to sort of begin the planning of this. Ultimately, this cost is around $19,860. All of these were budgeted for, or we could use housing funds for, so no issue there. There are a couple other projects we'd be working on with Veerbecker as well from a housing perspective in tandem with this, but these were the two major ones. So this isn't our site, this is another site, but this is kind of the whole concept. Ultimately, the idea here is to develop a plan and then be able to kind of sell the concept to the county, sell it to developers, sell it to the public, and sort of plan out the next phase of housing development in the community.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. All right, so are we going to take these motions, was one motion, both these together or separate?
Well, no motion has been made, so you
Okay,
can
well,
pick and choose.
I would
or-
like to make a motion for
Veerbecker.
Veerbecker to update the housing analysis in the amount of, let's see if I find it here. Saw it right here, was it 2,000 and something?
$2,720.
$2,720. And that's just for the housing update.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the update to the Veer Becker housing study at a cost of $2,720, say aye.
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 Opposed? That is approved. Is there any discussion on the second proposal?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Got a question here. So, when they're looking through this, they're reviewing the FEMA map, wetlands, soils, they're looking to see if it's suitable for building, they're looking to see if there's any title issues possibly. They're basically trying to wave a flag at any developers that might want to come in and develop that 40 acres. Is that in fact what we're trying to do here?
I think that is an option. I think the other option is to ensure that if the city were to exercise the first right of refusal on the property, that we are indeed purchasing a piece of property that is useful.
Right, that's, either way that would go. And the school district is looking at, they're probably not going to use that. And they would maybe prefer to have students in seats with that 40 acres, because I would, to keep the school district going. Not that it's, short, but they could always use an influx. So they're going through with all this, and that's not to say that a developer wouldn't go and do due diligence and check some of this stuff out themselves, but this says, we've had someone check it out and we believe it's good. So it's like an invitation.
That, as well as if the city were to pursue a city-led residential development.
Right.
We
would have all that.
We would have all of this done. So we've been
Right.
talking about this property a lot. We just want to make sure that if we're going to pursue this, it indeed works.
Okay, that's what I thought we were doing. So, are we looking for, we've already made the motion.
We do not have a motion on this proposal yet.
Would you like a motion, Mayor?
If you would like to proceed with it.
I would like to make a motion for Verberger. Whatever. Hey, I'm butchering it tonight. To do a, agreement to provide concept planning services to the city of Ripon on the 40 acres that the Ripon School District owns, that the city of Ripon has first refusal, in the amount of $19,860.
A second.
It's been moved by Doug, seconded by Jonathan. Any discussion on that motion or this proposal?
Yes.
Jolene.
If we were to find that this property, based on the report that we get, is suitable at that moment, Adam, I would assume you'd bring forth as to why it could be advantageous for the city to look at development there, like city-led versus from an outside developer?
Yeah, I think there's multiple ways it could go, but ultimately, this is not dissimilar to, we did the housing study, right? We kind of said we need housing. When this gets done, it'll get presented. It'll be a similar call. So, we'll see where it shakes out from there. As well as it's a tool for us to sell potentially, Fond du Lac County or others to join us in developing the property, developers, other agencies, etc. So.
And just to reiterate, like what Doug was saying, this either prepares the city for being the developer, or it's an excellent marketing tool for an outside developer to meet the project. John?
We don't have a cost on this property yet, do we, from the school?
No, ultimately, they purchased it a few years back for around, I'm not even going to speculate, but it was hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's a part of this. Making sure that, if we are indeed pursuing this, that our investment, which could be a lot of money in buying the land, is a wise one.
Right.
So, yeah.
My concern is, and I could be way out of line, but my concern is we get the report and the report is really favorable, that the price of the land goes way up.
Yeah, I think we have common goals, and the district in engaging them would, if we want to pursue something, would sell the property to the city, but, I don't know if, from the perspective of, if this were a private landowner, that's probably more of an issue, being that it is a school district that will have input and will see, hopefully a vision that they can buy into as well. We can work collaboratively within the community to grow the community.
I know it's a risk, but.
And in discussions with the school district, they share our desire to get affordable housing in this community. And that's what we're trying to accomplish with this project. So they were not saying they wouldn't try to run the price up, but they would be shooting themselves in the foot if they did.
Okay, thank you.
Shared goals. Steve, then Doug.
Is this property already in a protected city corridor?
It is just off of Eureka, just north of Eden Vista, or
Okay.
so it's in the township. So that would be the other thing is annexation into the city. So it would be a boundary expansion.
I guess I think that school district, and I can't speak for them, of course, but they're looking to put students in the seats to get that funding from the state. And so taking the long-term look at it, it maybe wouldn't be their interest to really run up the price. I mean, yeah, maybe they want to get that money back that they spent for it. So I don't think it's a big risk for anybody. And we do the heavy lifting for the school district to see if it's buildable, if it's usable for what we want to use it for, which is housing. So I think we should just vote on it and move on, because I think it's something we need to do.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the proposal from Becker in the total of $19,860 for specific wording on this one.
Concept planning for the school site.
Concept planning for the school district property site. Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Thank you. All right, next up we have a Parks and Recreation Senior Activities Center annual report. We have a couple of guests to speak with us this evening.
Yeah, come on up.
So, yes. Ashton Zine, Parks and Rec Director, and Christine Loish, the Senior Activity Center Director, are here. This is something that I requested Ashton put together, just a report out, an annual report out to the Common Council regarding the activities of the Parks and Rec and Senior Activity Center departments. So this has been approved by the Parks and Rec Committee and then forwarded tonight, so welcome. Tell me when I need to move the mouse.
Okay, you can move to the next
Okay.
slide. Okay, so I'm not just going to read off that mission statement to you guys, but to me, the annual report obviously is about numbers and statistics, but also it just shows the value that our departments add to the community's well-being, as well as enriching lives, building connections, and creating unforgettable memories. Just to kind of like put you guys, give you a vivid picture of like what we experience in Parks and Rec and the Senior Activity, or Parks and Rec Senior Activity Center. So For example, during our soccer fundamentals program, the 3 and 4-year-olds, one of the little boys scores a goal. Every single time he scores the goal, after that point, he's cheering for himself, his hands are in the air, he's smiling super bright, even though he's in the goal with the ball. Like, they're just all having a fabulous time. The seniors twisting the night away at their sock hop, and some of them hitting the floor, coming back up, twisting. And there's a video on Facebook if you haven't seen it. And also just the community members who've never ran a 5K in their life. For example, there was a 62-year-old who's never ran a 5K, and seeing him cross the finish line for the first time. That's why we do what we do, and that's why our departments are so important. Without Adam spearheading the creation of my position, without the approval from you all over a year ago for my position as well, and just the community support, like all of this, obviously the Senior Activity Center existed before I got here, but a lot of it would not have been possible without that, so we thank you all for that. Okay, completed projects last year. So last year, our park saw improvements to amenities, including the expansion and improvement of the Murray Park Trail, the Murray Park Disc Golf Course, the Barlow Park Sand Volleyball Court, and the addition of the pet ordinance signs and waste stations throughout 4 of our major parks. These improvements were aimed at promoting outdoor recreation, and specifically for the signage on the dog waste stations and the disc golf course. We're going for more of like a unified look between all of our parks. Right now, there's a lot of Mod Podge signs throughout all the parks that don't really match each other. So now we're going for a look that incorporates our logo, the colors, the fonts the same. They just all, it's just one cohesive look throughout the parks. Obviously, one of the very large highlights of 2023 was the Senior Activity Center. Not only has this building served seniors, but it's also served the youth, it's served young adults. It's provided a space for local organizations to have meetings, birthday parties. There was even a wedding reception there about a month ago. It's just proven to be a nice asset to the community itself. Here's just a little comment made from a local organization that used the Senior Activity Center. They said, "Everyone appreciated the facility, and I hope we will continue to use it in the future. Our meetings have hopped around to various locations over the years, but this was by far the best, most accessible, comfortable, and well-equipped." So that was super nice to hear. And lastly, the approval of the master plan and the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan. It just provided a framework for future park initiatives and helped be a guide in what we would like to see in the upcoming years. The completion of these projects just represent significant achievements in our ongoing efforts in enhancing recreational opportunities from the senior side of things and my side of things. We're just grateful for your support as well in realizing these initiatives are important, and we look forward to continuing to work with you all in building a better community for Ripon. Sponsorships and collaborations. So I will not go through all of these, there's a lot there. But we're proud to have partnered with several local organizations, businesses, and schools who share a commitment to making Ripon a more collaborative community. And thanks to the support of these individuals, we've been able to achieve significant outcomes in 2023. Looking ahead, we aim to further strengthen these relationships as well as explore new opportunities and adding more to just enhance the well-being of the community. Okay, park reservation data. So this data just provides some insight into the utilization of our city parks. Through our RecDesk software, I'm able to break down or export a very detailed report on reservations, revenue, programming data, etc. So that's where all this came from. So obviously, as you can see on the screen, total baseball, softball field reservations were 418, soccer fields 3, whereas there's 67 shelter reservations and 5 senior activity center reservations. As for the most frequent reservations, it was actually the Barlow Park North Shelter, the contained shelter, and the quad, which is in that picture there. Whereas least frequent was the Murray Park Lower Shelter, which is next to the softball diamonds in Murray Park, and the Barlow Park baseball diamond. And just with this data, I'm able to identify opportunities to just improve underutilized facilities. Alan and I actually went out for, 3 hours last week and just walked around the parks and basically identified and wrote down everything that needs improvement or that needs to be taken care of on a more regular basis that wasn't before. So that was nice to be able to write down a full list of all of that, and as well as enhancing efforts to promote park reservations, because that's not something that we do right now or that I know that's ever been done. So that as well. Okay. This is the rec department and senior activity center's revenue and program expenditure specifically. So for both departments together, revenue-wise, it was $24,080. Total program expenditure was $22,498. Whereas the expenditure, that includes like our rec desk software, it includes many new programs resulting in a lot of new equipment for the rec side of things specifically. Luncheons, the caterings for that, not pickleball, water aerobics, to pay the college, etc. For 2024, the budget with the combined budgets, thanks to Mandy and Adam, it's a lot more clear for me specifically, because with the 2023, the senior side of things, there was just multiple accounts that programming could be taken out of, and now it's just one single line item, I guess. So it just makes a lot more clear, and they were able to do that for me. And then specifically for rec revenue, so that was just based from, so I didn't start programming until June of last year. So from June to December is when I ran my programming of 2023. And that's because Rec Desk wasn't fully set up yet, and I couldn't run any of my programs until that was done. So that will change for 2024. Okay, so I'll do the rec side of things for this, for programming data. So from June 7th to December 22nd, I ran 16 individual rec programs, and there was a total of 347 participants in those programs. Community feedback, both negative and positive, is what I use to guide a lot of my decision-making when it comes to programming. So, for example, for the soccer fundamentals I was talking about, did not realize how hard it would be to corral 19 3- and 4-year-olds by myself. So for an hour straight. So based on the parents' feedback and then my personal experience, I was able to just switch how the program will run for 2024, which is super helpful. And then I've learned that I've had better success with, which you guys can see in the report, better success with adult programming numbers compared to youth. I can obviously better reach adults with social media, emailing and whatnot. But specifically for summer programs last year, because Rec Desk did not roll out until June, the summer program information was not sent out like when it normally would ahead of time before the school year ended. So for 2024, those numbers should be better because the information will be sent out at a good time now that the software is running. And then as well as just for me, just reaching out to the school and filling out the form to get information out to the students better as well. Christine.
So basically, Rec Desk is really awesome in that it took a little longer for seniors to get used to using it, and we still have challenges in that area. But it's really helpful to keep track. I don't think we kept that kind of really good data on what our seniors were using and what different programs, and that helps us to understand. So my programming for this year is based on what was successful in, even though I started in August, what was successful in those years and those months and that kind of thing. So we're continuing to build on the things that we've been successful with. A couple things. Our luncheons, so holiday parties are very successful. I have 65 people coming tomorrow for a Valentine's Day luncheon, and that's been underwritten, and also they paid a small fee for that. So we'll have that, and they'll have a little bit of entertainment. Other programs so the sock hop was very successful, so they've now asked to do something in the spring, and we're going to utilize more of the outdoor aspect of the building because it's such a beautiful building. You get to see what's going on in the park, but we also have that patio out there. So that is going to happen in June. And then we're also going to be adding more day trips. That's something that had happened in the past, but because of COVID, that kind of got shut down, and we're going to be adding that back into it and that kind of thing. And then a lot of our luncheons, we'll find out tomorrow, I have been writing grants for different programs to try to get funding for that. My goal is, obviously to have to charge as little as possible to the seniors, but to break even or that kind of stuff, to make sure that we're not draining the budget, so we go after grants and things like that and underwriting and sponsors. So we've been pretty successful at starting that up as well. We have smaller programs so we started a book club, and the first meeting was 8, and now we've got about 15 people coming to that, and those are smaller programs. I have interest in quilting and that kind of thing. We kind of had these very passive craft kind of things going on, and we're trying to get more groups to come in and actually run those activities instead of just having it, here, come on by and make some cards. We're going to try to get groups to come by and do that like a quilting group. I have interest in a quilting group and also gardening as well. So.
Okay, last slide. So as you can see in your report and on the screen up here, this is just the top programs the top wants, I guess, from the program survey that I created in 2023 that we have not offered yet. So there was programs that were at the top of the list that we offered last year, but these were next in line, as you should say. So this year, now that we have a full year of programming with the software and me being here since obviously last February, we're able to offer or to expand our programming. And we just want our programming to be the cornerstone of community development and well-being. And with that being said, continue to come together to prioritize the well-being of the city, and one park bench, one park project, one program at a time, we can do this. So that's it. Oh, some pictures.
Are there any questions for Ashton or Christine? Joey?
I want to say thank you for helping to make our community vibrant from the whole age spectrum, for the whole age spectrum. I think it's really meaningful, and as we look at not only growing our city, but keeping our own city connected. There are so many things that can be divisive in today's world, and I think activities such as the ones you both mentioned are ones where it doesn't matter your political affiliation, you come together. And so I think it helps make the city stronger, and I'm grateful. Specifically for Park and Rec, it was great to work with you when I was part of the Leadership Fond du Lac program, and I want to give a shout out for your interest in having a new bike repair station out at the facility. I hope it still holds up well over the winter.
Yes.
And I want to give a special shout out and a thank you to the Green Lake Bike Shop known as Mobivo and Cliff's Tire, who both donated to that and made that happen. So thank you for that. for your support of that being
Yeah.
up there. As yet another thing to add to a project.
Yes, yes.
So,
Anyone else? Well, thank you, Ashton and Christine.
Yes,
Keep up
thank
the good
you.
work. All right, our next item is acceptance of the DNR stewardship grant for the Selfridge Park project totaling $468,240. Adam?
So we've been waiting for this for quite a while, and it finally came to us about a week ago or 2 weeks ago. This is the official grant agreement with the state. So part of what Ashton mentioned was the master plan. From that master plan, we drafted and submitted a DNR stewardship grant. That application received funding. It went to the joint finance because it was over $250,000. So the total grant is anticipated to be $468,240 for a project double that cost. We have budgeted for it through this year. This includes a brief summary on the first page of the grant agreement of what the project sort of entails. It is Selfridge Park improvements, including multi-use path, kayak launch, nature viewing area, fishing pier, lighting, small open air shelters, shoreline restoration, and asphalt parking lot. We would recommend approval of this. In addition to this, I'll just note that Ashton received another grant to put in a new playground feature, so we will work on that. That is a more inclusive, accessible playground feature. So we anticipate that moving forward as well this year. Parks and Rec Committee has been instrumental in reviewing the plans and then recommending approval of this as well. So it is in front of you now.
Julie?
I'm absolutely in support of this, and so at the sake of, talking about it too much and not, I want to make a motion to move forward with this project scope, which is what we could do tonight, correct?
Yes.
I have a question I'd like to ask before a motion is made, is that it says asphalt parking lot. Do we know, there hasn't been asphalt there, and it's been working. Could that money be used for more play equipment, for example, or other features in the park? Do we know, has it been recommended specifically that an asphalt parking lot is recommended? I don't know how that plays into runoff in that area. Has a study been done specifically?
I will just say that asphalt will be way safer as a surface for a parking lot, as well as easier to maintain than a gravel parking lot.
And the reason we haven't had to worry about that is because it hasn't been used.
Correct.
There's a parking area there that we've
Right.
piled a bunch of old recycled material on. The intent of this would be to shrink down that area, make that a more natural area, and put in a parking lot that then connects the park in a better way. Obviously, there is parking on the street and whatnot, but from an accessibility standpoint, the idea would be to have a parking lot with accessible parking, to then get onto a path that's accessibly designed, to then get onto a kayak launch or a fishing pier that is accessibly designed. So it's developed in a very thoughtful way from the moment you enter the park to you leave.
Steve?
Didn't we already have a handicap fishing pier out there?
It's gone.
Somebody ate it?
I was told it was left in the water during the winter, so it got damaged. That was before that's what I was told.
No, it was there quite a while ago, but I was wondering what happened to it. Okay.
Julie?
I move to accept the DNR Outdoor Recreation AIDS Grant contract for the Selfridge Park project, totaling $468,240, as is presented.
Is there a second? Moved by Joe.
Double second.
Got got Jonathan in the room first. So moved by Jolene and seconded by Jonathan. Sorry, Dave. Any discussion on that motion?
Wait, now I have a question on my own.
Go ahead.
So I was reading from the agenda, the cost, and now the total project cost. Okay, this was for the grant. I'm just making sure the number is correct.
Yep, it's for the
Okay.
grant.
Any further questions or discussion?
A question on my motion, sorry. So I approve the grant, and does that mean therefore we are approving the whole project? That's my intention to move forward. Do I need to specifically?
We're accepting the grant, we're accepting the grant agreement with the DNR.
Right.
This then now kicks off the next phase of the project, which will be design and bidding over the next few months.
And so that's my intention, to kick that off. And
We'll work on it because now we have to execute the grant, right? So the DNR kind of holds us to accepting the grant, because if we don't, they will penalize us if we ever want to apply again.
And this was in the 2024 budget?
Yeah, correct.
Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of accepting the DNR stewardship grant in the amount of $468,240, say aye.
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 Opposed? That is approved. Thank you. All right. Next is an ordinance to establish a municipal court. This is just a new establishment. Every time a new community joins the municipal court, we have to redo this ordinance and add them or withdraw a community. And this particular one is the Village of Eden is being added to the current agreement. So this is really just a formality.
Move to approve. Second.
Moved by Jonathan, seconded by John. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the ordinance to establish a municipal court, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Aye.
Pause, back up. We need a roll call vote on this one. Sorry.
Yes, we do. Yeah, it's all righty. They
Adam?
do require that.
Iverson,
Yes.
Schatzinger,
Yes.
Reamer,
Yes.
Gallops,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Gotsky,
Yes.
Sorensen.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, our last agenda item is intergovernmental agreement of municipal court services. This is just following up on the last ordinance. Bud, do you have anything to add to that one?
No, just again, it's formality. Once you change and add or subtract any village or city to this municipal court system, you must update your intergovernmental agreement according to state law. So it's here before you, and I guess, Mayor, I would ask that that be roll call as well.
Very good. Any discussion? Or actually, we need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Moved by John, seconded by Jonathan. Now discussion. Hearing none. Let's have a roll call vote on approving the intergovernmental agreement for municipal court services. Adam?
Split,
Yes.
Sorensen,
Yes.
Gotsky,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Gallops,
Yes.
Reamer,
Yes.
Schatzinger,
Yes.
Iverson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Very good. Thank you. All right, project updates and staff reports. Public Works, anything for us?
Just two items. Gabe's is just about wrapped up. Actually, they thought they were done, but I brought their attention, they missed two stumps, so
waiting for them to let me know when those two will get
Just
done.
for
And-
clarification to the public, Gabe's is a tree trimming service.
I'm sorry, Gabe's, we awarded a contract to Gabe's Top It or Drop It for quite a few, about 64 trees if I remember right. They told me last week that they're wrapping it up. I checked everything yesterday and they were doing restoration for some that they had ground. And then as I went through the entire list through the community, I found that they had missed two, so they will be coming back to get those done. I guess the big news for this week is the crews have started dropping all the dead trees in our parks. So they started with Barlow on Monday morning. By noon, they had dropped 22 trees. They proceeded then on to Murray, and then between yesterday afternoon and this morning, they dropped 21. And they were looking at some of the more difficult ones. There's 4 more at Barlow that they were looking at this afternoon. I don't know if they've got those done yet. They assured me that we had the ability to get those done. And then there's one large one at Murray that we'll be strategizing on. And then some residents did call and brought to our attention a couple more in each park, so we'll be taking a look at those. So, and then Selfridge will be next. There's a handful of trees that have to be removed there also.
Very good.
That's all I have.
Any questions for Ellen?
Are we lucky with the milder weather that they're able to get a quicker start on that? Or,
Actually, I delayed it a couple of weeks hoping we'd get some frost in the ground. And as I was talking to our administrator, I said, I can't go any longer. We have to start making use of this weather, so.
because of the equipment would put ruts in the ground? Is it?
Primarily that, but also the trees when they're coming down, we're finding that they're making some dents, things like that. I was hoping to avoid that, but we have to take advantage of this weather, so. If there's restoration to be done, we'll take care of that in the spring.
John?
Do we have a plan to replace trees in the park? Are we
I
gonna go
imagine-
Parks first and then terraces second, where they're taken out, or?
Yeah, so we do have dollars in the budget, as well as, I'll plug, the Parks and Rec Department has a tree donation or replacement fund or adoption type program, so people can donate to help us out. Yeah, so the priority is a mix of trees, because as many as are going down in the parks, equal if not more are going down in the terrace.
Mm-hmm.
This is quite frankly, the product of long delayed maintenance of the urban forest and primarily our urban ash population getting decimated by emerald ash borer. So this day, as unfortunate as it is, has been a long time coming, and we will, once we stop spending so much money on trees, taking them down, it'll afford more money to plant more. We're trying to get to a point where we're at least planting about half of what we're taking down. Our goal is 1 to 1, but that is a very tall task with the number of trees that have to come down.
The other aspect to keep in mind with planting trees is that generally in that first season, that first growing season, they need to be watered, and we have to take into mind how the amount of time that will take on a weekly basis also. So my lessons I've learned is, you got to make sure that you got the staff committed to being able to be scheduled to do that work and not being pulled away from other aspects. And last summer is a good one from a standpoint of the dry conditions that we had, how important that would be, so.
Steve?
John asked my question. Everything's been answered.
All right.
Thank you.
I could imagine that would be a great thing to sign up volunteers to, adopt a tree and water it, but on the same token, I guess you'd have to still probably oversee it, because you'd have to make sure they were doing that, and that might take just as much time, huh?
That is a pitfall of getting volunteers is it getting done, and is it getting done properly?
Any other questions for Alan? Thank you, Alan. Nothing from PD? Clerk? Adam?
So I'm excited to announce that we have an accepted offer and a start date for the Assistant Director of Public Works. We interviewed 5 candidates. The ultimate candidate that was selected was Carol Anding, or Katie. She goes by Katie. She has 30 years of experience in utilities and public works, primarily down in Florida, working for the city of Clearwater. Most recently, she was is the wastewater director in the city of Columbus, Wisconsin, and will be starting March 4th. So we are excited to bring her on board and fill that position. In addition to that, your next meeting coming up here at the end of the month will include a hotel study presented by the consultant, so that is done. I will share that report ahead of the meeting, probably at the end of this week, because it is 120 pages. Feel free to read it all, or not, but it's good stuff. And then also we will be discussing a new position. Karen Engel, after 25 years of service to the city, has informed us she will be retiring in March. So we wish her a happy retirement. And we've been absorbing some of that responsibility into existing staff as we make the transition. And the idea would be to bring on a new role, so I will bring that forward at the end of this month as well. That's all I have. Any questions? Thank you.
All right. I have no appointments tonight, but I will announce that I do intend to veto the motion to approve Water Tower Rehabilitation Bid Alternate Number 7, adding Birthplace of the Republican Party logo to one side of the tower at a cost of $2,500. That's all I have for tonight. Any communications or future agenda items from council?
I have a question, maybe. I don't know if this was from a meeting that I missed. The commendation, did we all get that tonight?
Pardon?
Commendation, or was this from before?
That was tonight.
That was tonight?
Yeah.
Was it brought up earlier?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I just wanted to, publicly say, that it's like, thank you, pass along my thanks, It's really nice to see.
The commendations to the officers?
Yeah, the commendation was out. It's really nice that Sergeant Kurtik, is that right? And Officer Tipton were there, and so it's a great turn event, so just wanted to say that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Moved by Doug, seconded by Steve. No discussion? All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 8:33.